Right out of the gate, we have one of the best right tackles in the NFL. He has been with the Minnesota Vikings into his seventh year now from Pitt. He is Brian O'Neill. Good to see you, Mr. Brian O'Neill. How are things?
I'm great. Good to see you, man.
You too. All right, well, I thought of you earlier this week, and here's why. Because on the 9 to noon radio show, we had somebody on who I believe is somebody with whom you would be familiar, Brian Baldinger. Okay, Baldy, beloved Baldy. Baldy's breakdowns, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Baldy's on, and I go deep diving into his offensive lineman career a little bit, and I noticed in 1988, Baldy caught a 37-yard pass off a play-action play, okay, as an offensive lineman. Now, a 37-yard reception off play-action, are they ever going to put something in for you with the athletic ability you had in high school? I think it was 614 yards one year, and then you come to Pitt as a tight end, all right, and you know you made some plays as a non-offensive lineman in whatever fashion at Pitt. But I've asked you this before because I know you're athletic. Are they ever going to throw you a pass?
I don't know. I hope so, but I might have some competition. I don't know if you remember in Green Bay.
Oh, wow.
There was a deflected pass that Garrett Bradbury caught.
Oh, best ever.
And
right in
ran
the middle
for
of the
like
field.
25 yards. It was like our most successful offensive play that day.
It was unbelievable. It was like the Vikings' long reception in the game for far too long.
Yeah.
So like when you're losing a game like that, and that happens, how do you be happy about it? Because it's like, wait.
Yeah, you can't really celebrate. And I know he was dying. He was so tired. He doesn't usually run that much.
But
it wasn't that many people.
But it wasn't designed for the NC State guy. No. There were things that were designed for the Pitt Panther on a team that, by the way, James Conner was the running back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this before. Like Ryan Grigson, okay, offensive lineman at Purdue. Has he ever showed you his touchdown reception when he played?
No.
When he played at Purdue?
He hasn't, but I'm going to ask him about it.
Right. It was unbalanced. It was, tackle eligible, or however you want to describe it, and he got a touchdown.
Yeah.
So when I see that, or then when I talk to Baldy and I hear about this 37 yards for a guard, I'm just wondering, when do you lobby for it at all? Do you go through Cooper, the offensive line coach, to get to Phillips, to get to O'Connell, or do you just go straight to the boss and say, I'm not taking it anymore?
I don't know. I think it's something where, you got to have a really good start to the season, maybe good 7-8 weeks of lockdown and pass protection, and then maybe go over there. You don't go asking for it before you put some good film on tape. But
that's a very fair point.
Brian Angelico, our tight ends coach, he does a lot of the red zone planning. So I kind of, in the offseason here or there, have been, planting the seed a little bit.
Well,
we'll
see. That I'm glad you said that, because I learned this a couple of years ago, O'Connell's first year. The collaboration term is used a lot here, and it's effective. I mean, and it's pertinent too. Where, like O'Connell, I do a weekly one-on-one with him called X's and O's during the season, and he was talking about the red zone, and he was bragging about Angelico, kind of like a red zone savant with things he comes up with, but whether it's him, now Josh McCown, Chris O'Hara, your position coach, Chris Cooper, Wes Phillips, Kevin O'Connell, it's like everybody comes together on things. Does it work that way, red zone or outside of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that, but the continuity as players we've had with them for now our third season should hopefully bode well for us. But just the clear lines of communication and the standard that they set across the board, that everybody knows what needs to be done, and there's no back and forth between coaches. Everybody's pushing the boat in the same direction, which is really awesome.
All right, 2024 Vikings and preseason and stuff like that momentarily. Last one outside of the Covenant. So help us with this, all right? 2016 at Pitt, and Brian O'Neill, skill guy. I'm not off it. I was on it when you got here. And I just low-key been on it, like, is he ever going to catch a pass? Is he so athletic? That just help us with this. 2016 at Pitt, you ran for a 24-yard touchdown, unless College Football Reference is wrong. Is that accurate? And James Conner was the team's running back, yet you ran for a 24-yard touchdown, didn't you?
I did. It was technically a pass, but it was a lateral, so it counts as a run.
See, you can catch.
I could catch back then. I haven't tried in a while, but
you started the game as an offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, the play I was an offensive lineman too. It
Okay.
was like a rollout, and then I leaked behind the quarterback
But you, as an offensive lineman, ran. I mean, this could be fable for kids and grandkids if they never see the video. I made 9 guys miss. I ran through this guy, a future Hall of Famer, was a linebacker for Georgia Tech, ran through him. But what happened on that play? Did you run around people, make moves, cut, stiff arms?
No, it was pretty wide open. I just basically tried not to fumble or trip over myself. That was what I was most nervous about.
How excited do offensive linemen or non-skill guys get when they know something like that is in the mix and then it's called?
Yeah.
You have to contain excitement, right?
Yeah, I remember just being happy it got called early so I didn't have to think about it the whole game while still having to block pass protection on 3rd and 10.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Brian O'Neill, he's right tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. What are some things, just stream your consciousness, you're an elite football mind. What are some things you like about this offense?
Just the amount of playmakers we have, that always helps, and just the amount of different ways that we can attack a defense given the playmakers we have. Obviously our receivers speak for themselves. We got really talented tight ends. Josh Oliver never gets enough credit, in my opinion, for what he's able to do for our run game, and then not only that, in pass protection in the play action game, and just been phenomenally impressed with Aaron Jones so far in camp, not only as a player but just as a dude and a teammate. He's unbelievable. Everybody loves him. He had his son in the hotel the other night. He was coming around giving us high fives.
Aww.
He's just been a great addition to the offense and great addition to the locker room.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring.
The depth with the offensive line, the Minnesota Moving Company, as I've called it for 2+ decades. It's we're training camp pads just came on. I like the depth. I mean, Quessenberry, I'd heard of him from Houston and also his brother. But, man, I just gained the immense respect for him last year, where on short notice at Atlanta, he had to jump into that game. And I don't know how practice went during the course of the week. I don't know how many reps he got, but it was a tough spot, man. He jumped in and did a pretty good job. And subsequently, in other spots, he did well, too. So you put him in. They got Juergens, who looks like as a center maybe, backing up Garrett or whatever. Looks like he could be pretty good. Rouse, who I've seen back you up at right tackle. And then you got Brandell along with Ingram and Reisner. So we're a little deeper at guard than they've been. What do you think about that? Kind of deep on the O-line all of a sudden.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully everybody in that first 5 stays healthy so we don't need them. But there's a lot of competition in the room. And
right.
Back to David Quessenberry, what I think was even more impressive was when we played the Philadelphia Eagles week 2, he had gotten here 6 days beforehand.
Yeah.
He got here 2 days before the opener against Tampa.
Yeah.
Well, week 2, Oli Udoh had to start at left tackle.
Right.
He tears his quad in the second quarter. David Quessenberry's been here for a week.
Jeez.
Doesn't know a lot of the calls, doesn't know a lot of the things, and just goes out and plays left tackle.
So he was Dobbs before Dobbs was Dobbs.
He was Dobbs before Dobbs.
Didn't get the credit.
Yeah.
Brian O'Neill from Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. The rookie Dallas Turner is quite gifted, but he's also very new. Do offensive linemen in side chats ever work with, say, rookie edge guys or defensive linemen, to try to help them along the way?
Yeah, well, I think everybody's new, everybody's fresh, so there's a curve for everybody, no matter what round you were picked or what position you play.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, we'll talk to them after the play and be like, hey, you gave this away here, or hey, that was a good move. Finish here, try to show something else. So yeah, we've been talking to him, but at the end of the day, he's kind of got to feel those things for himself, because I don't know what it feels like to be a D end to have an unsuccessful rush. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's kind of got to feel those things out himself, and with plenty of reps. But the way he attacks practice and the physical freak that he is and his mindset and maturity, I think he's going to be just fine.
So that means you're comfortable working with Aaron Jones on the proper route of catching a lateral and running down the field because you've done it, right?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You scored a 20-some-odd-yard touchdown as a beefeater, as an offensive lineman. It doesn't happen much.
I'm not going to tell Aaron Jones where to run that ball with some of the cuts he's made in training camp so far.
And one thing with Aaron, and I'm probably dumb for not recognizing this. I mean, I've called a bunch of his games, and I've watched him play, as have you. I had no idea how fast he was. He's unbelievably fast. So, like, people are, Tyreek Hill and always talking about super fast people around the league. I mean, Aaron's fast, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really fast, and he gets downhill quick.
Right.
It takes him one revolution to cut and get vertical, and that's something that's really hard to find. There was a play the other day in practice. He went to the left side, and it was kind of a hit, and we were chasing down the field, and he made a cut on a safety, and I kind of bumped into him and, almost kind of tackled him almost.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Thanks, B." And I'm like, "What are you saying thanks for? I almost knocked you over." And he was like, "For getting downfield and blocking."
Right.
And I was like, "All right.
That's awesome.
For doing my job,
right.
I guess."
When training camp scuffles or little pushes back and forth, when those start to ensue, what leads to them? I mean, hot, tired, frustrated, what?
Yeah, hot, tired. I think the fact that the same guys have been going against each other day in and day out, rep after rep. So, today at practice, it'll be my 200th pass set against Jonathan Gennard. You know? So, guys are trying to make a play, one last extra shove, maybe a shove on the shoulder pad slides up and gets under a face mask.
Yeah.
And then somebody pushes back, and then that guy's got to –
Yeah.
And it just kind of rolls. But we've been pretty good here for the past couple of years in terms of training camp and those kind of scuffles. We've avoided them for the most part. And, it's football. Guys are competitive. And KO talks about we want to get right up to that line and flirt with it and then come back down. We don't want to cross it, but we want to be super competitive with a tough play style, and that's part of the game.
And what triggered me asking that is I don't know if you happen to see this from yesterday, but at Giants camp, rookie receiver Malik Neighbors and Kirby Joseph, the safety who hit Hawkinson, they got into a nasty fight yesterday. Did you happen to see it?
I saw there was a bunch. There was 8 or 10 of them.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
But it's okay. So we got the padded, what do you call those? The helmet bits.
Guardian caps.
Yeah, the Guardian caps. Well, I mean, okay, it's not exactly a completely soft down pillow. It's still, you still can feel the helmet. My man Kirby's just waylaying, throwing hard punches, hitting my man's helmet. I'm like, why are you hitting the guy's helmet? You might break your hand. So people go out of body when they get hot and tired. And I just wonder what has to get underneath somebody's skin so much to go full fight in a training camp. But that's what happened yesterday. Fortunately, it doesn't happen here with this Raiders game this weekend. And Antonio Pierce was quoted a couple days ago as saying, because they have a quarterback battle between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. It's from reports, it's very up and down, let's just put it that way. So he's like, I'm playing my starters. Don't know how long in this Raiders game. Don't know if we're talking about Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins. Can't imagine Devontae would play, just like Justin's never played a preseason game in his life. But game planning for preseason games, whether starters play or not, how much goes into it?
It's definitely probably a little bit less than a regular season game, just because we have a training camp practice today. Mm-hmm. And today would already be considered Thursday of a game week,
right,
if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So we would have already had, this would be a second day of major install on a normal game week, but I'm sure in afternoon and night meetings today, we'll take a look at them. Tomorrow will be a big prep day for the Raiders. And at the end of the day, it is a football game. And even guys who have played a lot of games in the NFL, game days are special. And so you want to be prepared and you want to be ready to go. And, on a personal note, looking ahead to the first couple weeks of the season, there's some serious edge rushers the first couple games of the season. So if, I end up getting a half, a quarter, or 3/4 the whole game, whatever it is, against Max Crosby, great, because I need the work. We need the work, because what's coming down the road of hopefully 17 to 21, 22 games this year, we're going to need to be ready, and any opportunity to get ready, it's, we're paid to play football. So if there's a football game, we want to be out there.
So, like, you start thinking now, just low key, about Bosa week 2 and Daniil week 3 with Will Anderson, and the Giants are first, and they got that monster in the middle, Dexter Lawrence. He's not really your responsibility, right?
No, but they have 2 heck of edge rushers on the outside too.
I didn't want to bring him up, but Dexter's the bomb.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
He's really good.
But there'll be a time to get there. But that's the point of probably maybe playing in this game, having joint practices with the Browns.
Yeah.
Get Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson under our belt, so that hopefully we're very battle tested going into the season, ready to play some elite players.
Got a minute and small change left. You get it all. What do you like about Darnold so far?
His poise and confidence in the pocket. He's got a quiet confidence about him. He's got a really quick release, and some of the throws you make, you're like, oh, wow, and he's a dude. He's one of the guys. I think he's having a really good camp, and excited to work with him.
What about McCarthy?
Great kid.
Yeah.
Does everything right. He's made some serious plays out there, and he's got a little bit of moxie and swag to him.
Super excitable.
Yeah, for sure. And guys rally around him, and I don't know enough about quarterbacks to say this or that, but I think he's got a bright future.
Well, see, that's why they never put a pass play in for you. You don't know.
I got one lane right there on the right side.
And lastly, has Darisaw bought you guys anything post that big deal? Is he like taking care of the Minnesota Moving Company?
Not yet, but I'm sure it's coming, knowing him. But so happy for him, and
he's great.
Everything that he got, because he deserves it all.
Yeah, likewise for you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.